We return once again then to the home of British motorsport and the birthplace of the Formula One World Championship. It's race day here at Silverstone, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Now, can I talk to you about Sebastian Vettel? Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. The captain lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Stroll, Perez, Norris, Sainz, and Daniel Ricciardo. Kvyat, Magnussen, Sebastian Vettel, and Grosjean, Ocon, Gasly, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Kimi Raikkonen, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish. Okay, that's a good start. Keep it up. has the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. We're accumulating some wear on the MGU-K. To manage this, we'll need to lower our ERS deployment mode. We have a very worn-out MGU-K. Our battery charge speed is suffering, and if it gets much worse, we could be forced to retire. We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums. Okay, we're hitting the rated limits on the MGU-H. The power unit is going to be more prone to overheating. The energy store is getting worn, reducing our overall capacity. The more charge you hold, the faster that capacity will drop. want to pit this lap, so push now. We're leading our teammate by 1.9 seconds. We're seeing a loss of power from the turbocharger now. Loss of power on the turbo. Wear to the engine puts us at risk of an engine failure. Keep temperatures in the optimal zone. Go, go, go. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Lewis is in the pits. Let me know you're okay.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver. After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
I have to say Sebastian Vettel certainly caught my eye during today's race. Incredible driving.
Let's move on to the Constructors. Our championship leaders retain their position, but their lead is shrinking. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Bad luck out there today. Let's talk about it. You're no longer in the top spot. Are you hoping to regain it? It looked like you had a few mechanical hiccups during that race. It's looking like the championship is already won. Do you think there's still time for this to change? Is there a hint of jealousy in seeing your teammate up there on the podium? Or are you happy for them? Appreciate your time.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top three today. The captain, Verstappen, and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. It's always good to qualify at the front, isn't it? How do you feel this season is going for you? Is the car competitive? You didn't practice much this weekend. Are you saving your car for the race? Appreciate your time.
Well done. Very solid result. You're looking good for the race.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula One World Championship. It's a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher in 1992. So here we are once again, ready to go racing through the Ardennes forest. 4.35 miles of long straights, fast corners, and massive elevation changes. It makes this not only one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar, but one that makes for some consistently high-quality racing as well. Simply put it, there really is no place quite like Spa. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. The captain lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Vettel, Sainz, Perez, Kvyat, and Daniel Ricciardo. Norris, Stroll, Esteban Ocon, and Gasly, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Romain Grosjean, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
We need a good result today if we want to catch Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship. We're looking good so far. approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums. Okay, we're hitting the rated limits on the MGU-H. The power unit is going to be more prone to overheating. The energy store is approaching its wear limit. We will be forced to retire if we're not careful. Make sure to discharge your battery properly. We're going to box this lap, push hard on the in-lap. We're seeing a loss of power from the turbocharger now. Loss of power on the turbo. issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them. Okay, some information on Perez. It looks like the problem is terminal. They're retiring the car. Lewis is in for a stop. Yellow flag. Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead. Okay, clear. Okay, you're creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Go now. Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tires. 5 laps of fuel remaining. Is 14.9 seconds. Is dropping back. We're seeing a gap form. There's 4 laps of fuel remaining. This is your final lap of the race. Great job, you've done everything we wanted today.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. After an incredible performance, Lewis Hamilton secures the top spot in the Drivers' Championship. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Lance Stroll certainly put in an impressive performance today. No doubt his team and fans are extremely proud.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action.
Our new parts have been completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
excellent lap. We're really pleased.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. The captain, Leclerc, and Sebastian Vettel. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. Great qualifying session. Are you feeling safer ahead of the pack? How do you feel the competition is for you this season? Do you feel that you don't need to practice? Great. Well, that's everything.
All right, I think we can call that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness, and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. The captain lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, and Verstappen, Perez, Albon, Ocon, and Carlos Sainz. Gasly, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat, and Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Magnussen, George Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Norris, they've taken a grid penalty, and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going. Nice start. Are you all right? Engine off, engine off. Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish. That's a decent start. Good job. Are you okay? That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please. After the points finish last race, Nice start. Let's keep it up. That looked bad. Are you all right? Let me know you're all right.